This is the next one. Because I don't know. I lost track. But yeah.
Regular dad.
We will
next level.
You know, it's good. We could probably isolate that and do some like monster truck style.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Regular Dad with Ben and Jimmy.
Yes, yeah. That's good. All right.
Okay.
Anyways. Yeah. We will be talking about embracing your passions today. The things that you like in life. We'll define it too. If you like what we're doing here, please like and share. And if you don't like...
And subscribe too.
Yeah. If you don't like what we're doing
still
here,
getting all that down.
I want you to share this with your friends right now. If we annoy you or said something that is incorrect...
Make fun of us.
Please do.
Yeah. Let us be your internet fodder.
Share this with your friends and tell them why they should avoid us. All the perils and everything.
Yes.
And you can even grab all of the hashtags you can that we use and copy those as well.
Yeah.
And say, this is why you need to avoid these scoundrels of society.
Yeah.
This is what's wrong.
This is what's wrong with society.
Yeah,
these guys right here.
Yeah.
Share.
They are they are everything that's wrong.
We would love that very much.
Yeah, we would.
Thank you.
We would love it.
Yeah.
So, in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Sorry, Mom. Social media profile spotlight. I feel like, like Debbie Downer, because the last episode was Pop Watch, Joe McRoy. But this one is Rob Pitts. Rob Rabbit Pitts. I don't know. So he's a car guy, but he was an incredible storyteller. So he had really good stories from his career coming up as a car salesman. And this guy...
Oh, that sounds fascinating.
This guy, he could sell anything. Okay? And so he was really good. But you hear the stories that he shares, and it's just like, you're like, man, I like this guy. He this last week, I think it's the last couple of days. Today's my sister's birthday. I just realized what day it was. Happy birthday, Bonnie!
Happy birthday, Bonnie!
Yeah, so,
from the Regular Dad.
From the Regular Dad. Also,
it's a very regular dad thing to do.
Yeah, because
to just remember it's your sister's birthday.
I should probably remember to text her later.
You should probably.
She'll get offended if I don't and hold a grudge. Just kidding. She won't do that. But maybe a little bit. But yeah, so anyway, so Rob Pitts on YouTube, Rabbits Used Cars on TikTok, and then on Facebook he's Rabbit Pitts. And but his content's just great. But he was a regular at SEMA.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and so, but again, just for the stories.
Did he
alone.
build cars, or was it just?
So he's not. He had a collection, but he wasn't really, a wrench turner guy that I know him to be.
Right.
He was an enthusiast, extremely knowledgeable. But you're talking about in high school, he was selling cars on eBay when it was the brand new thing before eBay Motors existed. Yeah. Okay.
I remember those early, that was like the Wild West, man.
It
was like there was no protections or anything in place.
But he's a teenager, and you don't think about all but it was also, it was the Wild West, so there was kind of like a mutual respect at that time.
It was a good time to buy a car on eBay, in the sense of you could often get a deal.
But he got blacklisted.
He did?
Yeah, from eBay, permanently banned. And that story is easy to find on social media, but he's just a good, fun-loving guy, and just good, because if you watch the news right now, you want to cry, Yeah. So you watch some of his stories, you're like, that's pretty funny. I like that. It's just, something different than the social norm that you're bombarded with. So, completely unrelated and off topic book suggestion though, and that's Amazing Grace. William Wilberforce and the Heroic Campaign to End Slavery. Now that might be the longest book title out there, okay, But again, Amazing Grace, William Wilberforce and the Heroic Campaign to End Slavery, and that's by Eric Metaxas.
Okay.
Wow.
Sounds amazing.
It really is. And he was working, and devoted his life's work.
We talked about this recently, and I didn't put it on my list. So.
Right. So he devoted his life's work to abolishing the slave trade. So England, on the England side. And
we don't think about the fact that it started, that it was going, I don't know if it started, I guess it started over there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there was
proximity.
Yeah.
And, and you just, some of the stuff that comes up there, you're just like, ooh, golly.
Yeah.
It is just,
and you said he went back and forth.
Yes.
On the boats.
He rode back and forth.
On the ships.
On the ships full of people that, I'm just going to say, people that had been captured on one continent and were being brought across the Atlantic to be sold in another. Just saying that is like, ugh, it makes it makes my skin crawl. But he didn't like write about it from afar or speak to it, from some holier than thou platform. No, he got on the boat.
Someone went down in.
He got down in the hold and talked about how it was just so unbearable, and that he could barely spend any time down there, but there were people that were down there for weeks upon weeks as they sailed.
Unreal. And
many of them didn't make it.
Right.
They had they had a dead loss ratio that was that they calculated for.
That book should probably be required reading.
Well, and so so it's a heavy book, but
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just we're not always faced with some of those realities. Some of that stuff's cleverly left out of history books and different things, so you don't really know. I'm not getting into the the erasing of history and different things. We could, but that's not what we do. But you just don't hear about that stuff. And the eye-opening thing that was, wow.
Yeah.
So anyway, check that book out. It is not light recreational reading, and you don't. It's not like it's a beat down either. You hear some very, very heavy stuff,
right?
But it's it's like, God, I'm so glad that we've moved beyond that.
Well, and it's the story of this guy who was like that. Now, it sounds. I need to get that on my list and get.
And someone will say this. Well, we haven't moved beyond that because of human trafficking. I know.
Yeah.
So there's a whole terrible thing. Yeah. I know. My wife is speaking later this year at a human trafficking conference. So human trafficking conference.
Anti.
Yeah. But it's like an awareness thing.
Human trafficking awareness. Yeah.
So I know. I know. But so there's still plenty of things that are wrong. At least, this is not because it was just done blatant out in the public. We've taken those steps. Several more steps to take. But anyway. So check that out. Very
evil will always be around too.
Yeah, no, there will be no expunging of evil.
Yeah,
period. It will just find another place to live and manifest itself. That's all.
Yeah.
But anyway, so getting back to the topic at hand, embracing your passions. Now, and I've been transparent on this platform and on others. I do a podcast with Bill Leckie. It's an audio-only podcast, but it's called Divergent Sense. And I've cataloged through a handful of episodes what we call my depression journey. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that's been a long road. But one of the things that has really come on what I would say is the back end and the conclusion, more or less, of that journey, and now it's just a maintenance thing of this is how to live in healthy ways and not go back to some of that, is embracing your passions.
Yeah.
And so for me, one of those is getting to the lake. Yeah. And last summer, we were at the lake nearly every weekend. Mm-hmm. Oldest didn't have a job, and we were there. If we weren't somewhere else as a family, we were at the lake. Period. So it was a great summer. Now this summer's been very different because Banks has been unavailable most Saturdays because he's been working.
Yeah.
So, but we have other people that we go to the lake with. We've also been gone a lot over weekends this summer, or they've been gone. Camps and different things that they had. All good, life enriching stuff. But I was faced with this weekend, this most recent weekend. I'm going to the lake, even if I have to go by myself, because it's good for me.
I'm going to go embrace this passion, even if it kills me.
Well, and it was kind of one of those things because it's very easy to say, no, I don't want to go do it because, again, you don't want to be the guy that's launching by himself. I don't mind it if there's no one else there. But when there's a bunch of people that are wanting to launch and you feel kind of awkward, But we got there and there was no one. We got there early enough, so it was no big deal.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm like, I'm going to the lake. It turns out Everly was free, and she's like, well, I'll go with you. Well, I still got to do all the work, but at least I got her. She can hold the boat, and make sure and kind of, she knows how to winch it up. So when I'm pulling it on the trailer, she'll hop off the front and she'll crank it and get it ready. And then I'll, jump up and pull the rig out of the water. But anyway, so we kind of have our little system there. But that is one of my passions. Okay. Now, one of my other passions and I've talked about this too, but I like audio, all the technology that we use at church. And I've done plenty of audio work, outside of church as well, because I enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's fun. I like to mix and to bring vocals together with instrumentation and make something that sounds good in a live environment. I like it. I'm no good in the studio. Don't do that. There are people that thrive there.
I don't know. You do the audio for this.
Well, yes, no.
Just saying.
Well, so if you have any complaints about the audio, please send those to Jimmy. So I have that. It's either while those are passions, and I like to grill for the family. I have those things. But if you approach it with the weight of requirement, like I have to, or I don't have a choice, or this or that, it can become a weight.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you embrace it, you hold it, you love it. So embracing is like, is a hug, right?
Yeah.
So you're not carrying the weight of these obligations. You're embracing, your passions. And if you can consistently approach it with the mindset, or mostly consistently approach it with the mindset of this is something that you're choosing to do, that you get to do.
Right.
But it is so good for my mind and my emotions to choose. I am choosing to go to the lake. Yeah, there's some work involved, but the joy, on the backside of that effort is extreme. Because, we're just out there floating. We pitched the anchor, and we just sat out there. And for a while, we didn't even have the radio on. We just listened to the waves kind of.
Oh, I love that
just
sound.
kind of lap up against the hull, and I was like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So, and it was just me and her. She was reading a little book. I had a couple of things that I needed to do online, emails that I needed to reply to, but it was a very peaceful setting to do that in. So, anyway. But the benefits of embracing your passions. Now, I'll tie that together because professionally, you are a contract. You're a pilot.
Yeah.
And so phone rings, you got to go.
Yeah.
Usually your phone rings ahead. There are not too many, I guess.
I've been watching the text messages today.
Just to see.
So, nothing.
Yeah. If you get called out.
Yep.
I'll finish the episode by myself. We have to.
I'm out.
So, if you see him in a flight suit, you'll know that he's got to take off here in a minute.
We don't wear flights.
No, you don't. So
that's the CAF. We do wear the Nomex for CAF.
Right. Well, and then so that would tie that is a passion. That is a volunteer thing, and not just you are paying to go do that. It is a CAF. It is an investment in your passion, but out of your own pocket.
Yeah.
You go and do this, but it is an overlap with what you do professionally, but it is in an entirely different vein, and it's a refreshing.
Yeah, airplanes are sort of just a passion period.
Yeah. But you like RC stuff. Like we took the drone to the lake once.
Yeah, that was blast.
With the kid and immediately you were disappointed in the performance of my drone, my subpar drone, which I think the company may have been banned from the United States now. If someone can tell us. There was DJI was they were supposed
Are they
to,
banned?
They were going to be.
Wow.
I haven't followed that.
That's a big deal. I didn't know
that.
Yeah.
Wow. So there was a whole stink about that, and I don't even know what it was based on. I'm sure they were spying on all of our stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everything about. If somebody wants to know something secretly enough, and
I mean, built into the cost of these modern electronics that talk to home, that like talk to some server somewhere, built into the cost is selling your data. The thing
how
would be
else
a lot
are they
more
gonna,
expensive.
How else are they going to offer that little drone? And I had the most basic you can get for like $300 or $400.
Yeah.
And come on.
Yeah.
Come on. So anyway, they're getting paid somehow.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about, I mean, because you get in, like streaming, playing the games with Wilson
so
and the
it's
other stuff that you
interesting.
do.
This is a great topic because, something that came up, we still haven't talked about this experience that we had that kind of changed our life. But during that experience, during that week, there is a period where you get to read letters from folks that have written to you. And one of the things that you wrote me a letter, and one of the things that you told me and encouraged me to do was to get back into RC, and I still haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because, flying CAF airplanes, it definitely is a passion, but it's not on the level with what you're talking about with the boat being out on the lake. It doesn't. There's no peaceful moment during that. It's very much and I've had to recalibrate it, and this last trip out was really good because I recalibrated, and originally it was very, I don't want to say this bad, I mean it probably reflects badly on me, but whatever, it was a very self-centered thing. Okay. It was like, I'm coming out here.
Because no regular dad out there has any self-centered tendencies whatsoever.
I'm coming out here to fly these airplanes, and it's a lot of fun, and that's what I'm doing. I'm out here to fly these airplanes.
Yeah.
And, there was, to be honest, at a heart level, it was more about that than the mission. And the mission of the CAF is to educate, honor, and inspire, right? Okay. So through living history flights. So like flying the airplane. And I could speak about that with the best of them. Sure. But I didn't look at it as a service as much. So this last time, after this kind of life change that I've had and realizing, there was a lot of changes that happened. I recalibrated it, and I kind of looked at it as, I asked myself the question, if I couldn't fly the airplane, would I still come out? And if the answer to that question is no, then I probably don't need to be out here. Yep. Because it's more than flying the airplanes. It's about the mission of sharing this history with people, keeping history alive. On the rare occasion when we get a World War II or a Korean War veteran to come out and look at the airplane because the B-29 flew in both wars, to serve that person, to serve their families, to serve my colleagues, because it's all volunteer and all of that. And it was really good this last 2-week stint. It was healthy. Yeah. But what you're talking about, where you have a passion that you pursue, and that's a place where you experience this sort of solitude and the rest that you're talking about, I don't really have that. That's something that
we've exposed Jimmy today, so
no, it's good. No, it's something that I need to get back to, because even like gaming, dang, gaming is enjoyable, but the games today are built to addict you.
Yeah, it's a lot of,
and so you can't really be into it real deep without getting into it too deeply. So there's always this like sub process in your brain, if you're healthy, I think, of going, I love this hobby, it's a lot of fun, okay, I need to shut it off.
Right. Yeah, it is a whole other thing, and all these games
it's probably true for anything is addicting, but the gaming, they're designed to be addicting.
Yeah,
that could be a topic for all another.
Yeah, and Dina addresses some of that. She has a podcast called Remodel Parenting. It's been dormant for a little while because we've been very busy.
There's some good information there, though.
But she's got 100 and some odd episodes.
Yeah. All of it is relevant.
Yeah, and so it's good stuff. But she talks about that, and it's the dopamine hits.
Yeah,
it's the same thing as following the red marks on Facebook.
Yeah.
You know, they're giving those little checks.
Yeah, those little dopamine hits.
Yeah.
Which goes back to the book I recommended, Anxious Generation. But I just want to say this. The RC airplane thing is your boating thing.
There you go.
And what's interesting to me is I haven't been able to find room for it in my life right now. And it's frustrating. But there were times when I was flying for the airline and I had I was working on weekends because of my seniority. And so I had these weekdays off.
Right.
And I had time.
Yep.
So I would load the truck with airplanes. I'd go out to the field and I'd spend like 6 to 8 hours at the RC field. And I was flying giant scale airplanes, so I'd burn through, it's gasoline. It's two-stroke gasoline oil. I'd burn through a gallon of gas. You know, and it was the same thing.
Yeah.
A lot of just sitting out there. Most RC fields are out away from things because of the nature of the hobby, right? It's like we got to get these guys away from anything they're going to crash into.
You've seen that video going, my dude gets pegged in the head. This plane is just ripping across the field. I mean, it's
like you're
some
out.
Guy comes out. Yeah.
You know, the RC field that I flew at in Utah was out by the Great Salt Lake. So it's like you're just out. There's cows everywhere, you know, and it's just quiet and it's awesome. And I miss that. But it's interesting to me that the effort that's required, you were talking about, getting the boat on the trailer and all that stuff. The effort that's required to get the airplanes, especially now, because they've been sitting for 3 years.
Yeah.
So fuel lines are going to be rotten.
Yeah, you got to go through.
Bearings are going to be rusted.
Clean out the car.
Batteries are toast. Need to replace all those. It's like you got to do all this stuff to get them up and flying. It's like, I'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah. It's
but
very
there's
easy.
a loss.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't. While you can, yes, you can do it another weekend, yes, but there's also a weekend where you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talk about that guy that I have lunch with, really good friend of mine, but he has a very large format excavation company, huge equipment, and they go out and they move a lot of dirt. But they said, well, if you don't work today, you can just work tomorrow. Yes, but you still paid for that equipment the day that you didn't use it. And if you didn't use it that day and didn't make any money with it that day, then that's not a day that you can recover. Right. Because, you just work the next day. Yeah, but then that next day, it just feels you can't. It just doesn't get passed along. It's a lost opportunity. Yeah. So I remember, I will go out on the water, if it's hot, and now I don't stay out there all day in the dead of right now. We go early.
Yeah. What is it out there right now? It's 100 degrees probably out there.
And so we passed on a weekend because we weren't gonna be able to go early, and then it was gonna be like over 100 to go out, and I'm like, because if you have a flat tire or something like that, and then you're on the side of the road working in that, it's like sucks. So, but I remember one day, and it was actually when y'all were doing that y'all were camping with another family that was involved with the church. They're actually in Cameroon now, but y'all were out there. But it was way too windy to be out there, and I was like, I'm going. Yeah. And the boat can handle it.
I think I remember that. Right, that was like, we didn't do anything but just go fast.
So the thing is, and you say, I think I remember that. So I went and we picked y'all up, and we went and hid over in another place out behind a little outcropping where there was some calm water. Now, we couldn't do any water sports or anything. We just anchored up and just enjoyed just some time, just some conversation. And that was great. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. Vividly.
Me too. Yeah.
And, and I enjoyed the mess out of it, but it was like, sailing the high seas. Yeah. We're going to do this. It was not dangerous. It was uncomfortable, but we got a boat with tall sidewalls and a V-hull. It's fine, so safety wise, not a thing, but you can't go ripping across the water and you're going to get bounced, but we did it. And then I got in the water and I didn't know where y'all were camping. And then I found out I have to traverse the open water of this lake to get to them. Like, all right. And so we did. Yeah. And, but,
there's a video of me, because I grew up flying RC back in the day when, you bought a box of balsa with some plans and some instructions and a bottle of glue, and you built the thing.
Let's do it. Don't sniff the glue.
And then you bought an
Put
engine.
it on the wood.
And you bought some of the radio equipment, and you put it all together, and you went out and you flew it.
Yeah.
You probably crashed it.
Yeah.
And I've come to really enjoy that process.
Yeah.
Building them. And so I remember there was a video of that Kim took. I was like, you need to record me, because I need to say something.
Oh, okay. Because we featured one where you were trying to get it back on the ground.
And I had just finished an airplane.
Okay.
And it's back there in the shop. It's this big. It's a giant scale. It's a 50cc engine. It's a giant scale profile. So it's a flat fuselage.
Yeah. Okay.
This big flat fuselage, big thick wings, super aerobatic, but just hilarious fun. It doesn't look like an airplane. It just
Some like how
super
does this
lightweight.
fly?
Yeah. But I built it from a kit, and it was a pain in the butt. It was a huge pain in the butt because it just was. There was a lot of little techniques to the construction, and it's kind of a grassroots kit.
Right.
So there's some things that, like the way it goes together is, you got to kind of fiddle with it a little bit.
Right.
Anyways, I got it up and running, and I flew it, and it was like perfectly trimmed. Like I didn't need any aileron, rudder, elevator trim. It took off, and it just flew straight.
Yeah.
And
the stuff dreams are made of.
Yeah, and I had this recorded. So I told Kim, I was like, "Hey, record me." And I was like, I need this to remember this. It's totally worth it, even though it's a huge pain in the ass. It's totally worth it.
Totally worth it. And there is joy comes as a result of effort. A lot of times. And
and you're right about embrace. Like it's almost like in that moment I was understanding. I have to embrace the difficulty that comes with this.
Yeah, because it's always it's like there was when we bought the boat and I'd done so many searches and different things, I got suggestions for T-shirts, and it was like the Facebook ads and whatnot. I was like, I'm sorry for what I said when we were docking the boat. Now we don't have to dock boats here. The format we do, because it's on and off of a trailer.
Yeah.
Now, if there's a crosswind or something, it can get a little dicey. But backing the boat, different things. So the concept still applies, but we don't have a lot of like marina slips and different things where I go to the lake. But that is a real challenge because you're bringing in a boat. You have to have someone with a line, at the bow and the stern, and you have to be. It can be nerve wracking.
Yeah. No, I get that. We went out with my best friend and his family in Utah on his wakeboard or a surf boat.
Yep.
And he's out on the lake like you a lot.
Yep.
But even though he was trying to they wanted to stay out on the lake, so they were dropping my family off at the dock. This is a surf boat. It's got a rudder. Mm-hmm. So he's got to like keep the throttle, like do the whole thing.
Yep.
And you could feel the tension rising as we get closer to the dock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, some of the you get into larger boats and they'll have a little bow thruster.
Yeah,
and even if they don't have a bow thruster, but they have twin
screws
motors in the back, or if rudder or pods that spin. Now it's joystick controlled.
Oh, that's
and it's
cool.
computer driven.
That's
even
cool.
There's outboards.
Yeah,
that you have a joystick.
Wow,
and you go, I need to go to the right, and it kicks one this way and kicks one the other way, and it.
That's
push
cool.
you to the right, because it knows the most advantageous.
Yeah, he was telling me, he's like, you can get in trouble, I guess, because you pull the power off and the prop stops spinning. Now you have no directional control.
Yeah, you have to have water flowing past that rudder. Yeah. So, But anyway, so there is embracing passions they can require an investment, but if it's something that you're truly passionate about, you won't regret the investment.
Yeah.
I've never regretted going to the lake. I've gotten mad at the lake. We went one time and it was the trial run.
What happened? There was something, it was a line that came off or a fuel line or something.
We had the boat winterized.
Yeah.
And they never put the plug covers.
The plugs. That's what it was.
Back in. We didn't have any to put in.
Yeah.
But there are these little access points where they suck all the water out so that if it gets below freezing, the water that's in there will crack your block. So you have to get it all out. So, but anyway, I didn't power it up before I, went out. I charged the battery. It's supposed to start. Everything's supposed to be fine. It was not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's bad on me. And we hadn't done that since. But I've checked every year.
There's something to be said definitely, you're right about it. It's almost like if you're passionate about something, my wife used to ask this question. Why are you still doing it if it's making you so frustrated? So maybe it's a guy thing. I don't know, but it's like, well, I love it.
Yeah.
But you're angry at it.
I've had some very frustrating days
but I
in
love
the
it.
audio world. Yeah, I love it. But man,
Yeah.
So
what you don't say in that instant is, I love you and you make me angry sometimes.
Right. Well, yeah, don't say that.
Don't say that.
Abort. Don't say that. So, anyway. Well, that'll take us to the end of this episode of The Regular Dad.
Yes.
Got anything else?
No.
Neither do I. So, we'll catch you here next time on The Regular Dad.